My name is Quw'utsun, otherwise known as Stella. I was born and raised here in Cowhican, and when we look at why every child matters is the impact that colonization has had. Day school, residential school has had such a negative impact in our family. And maybe people don't understand that we grew up with violence, verbal violence, physical violence. So many of our friends, my peers, could have been raped or beaten, even for speaking our language. So when we look at the impact of my parents, my grandparents, and the many generations, like many of our people have lived the impact of residential school, day school, and school. And a lot of it is, many families today would have parents that are alive that showed love. They modeled how a happy family could be. So within the survivors of the residential school, that was something that was greatly short. So meaning short that they didn't have the positive role models of parenting skills. Learning how to love someone is something that is a real challenge. Being able to even say I love you was difficult for many. And then we look at education, like for example, with my brother who's next to me. He was in what they called occupational levels 1, 2, and 3. Even though it doesn't sound like much, it was limiting my brother's way of living. So we were looking at trades. So academics was discouraged. And if I did well in school, it wasn't acknowledged. So I was told as a youth that I was just a dumb Indian. And that one of the teachers in the high school here in Cowhican told me I would be nothing but a drunk, that I would be in a ditch somewhere, and that I would probably have 10 kids that I wouldn't even know who the father was. That's what the teacher told me. So I fought back, and I fought back with education. I'm the first one in my family to actually graduate, to have a certificate, diploma, degrees. I have my BA in First Nation Studies. I have my Master's in Education. And I'm forcing myself to look at my doctorate. But within my family, I really fought hard to model. And I was fortunate in being able to be in early childhood education. So I was actually able to see how it would be for a positive modeling of parenting skills, being able to encourage the children to strive for strength, strive for education, so that they'll be able to survive in life. Yeah, so that it's something that we have to really fight hard with, and it's something that learning to model that is one of the hardest things. If you don't know what to look for and how to do it, then it can be hard. And so being able to strive with it and to walk with it with our children it's a life changer. So with my children, I fought really hard with that. My daughter, I really fought hard to keep her from what I grew up with, and that many of our families grew up with. So as a survivor, many of our people fall into ways of trying to forget how they grew up, the pain, the anger, the frustration, demeaning remarks, violence, abuse of all forms, and not having that voice is really difficult. So some of it is hidden with alcohol, with drugs, with abuse. There's all a learned behavior, and that's something we have to remember. It's a learned behavior from dysfunctional people that thought they were trying to civilize us, which is really ironic because they don't understand that the cultural and traditional ways that we live, we practice daily, is our strength of maintaining mentally, physically. And we can actually be a very strong person if we follow our cultural and traditional ways, where colonization ways that we were taught with abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, not hanging on to education is something that we have to really strive hard for. Walking the two worlds, being able to gain and maintain in both worlds is really important. And learning that when I'm under stress, how can I find that balance culturally, keeping it to keep strong, and being able to use my voice in my other world and strength. So encourage everyone to speak up. If you see abuse happen, use your voice. It doesn't mean you take advantage of it. It means you value what you have, and you look like if that was my daughter, if that was my son, if that was my mom, my aunt, my uncle, my grandpa, would I let them be hurt like that? And how can I use that? How can I use that to strengthen not only them, but to set boundaries, learning how to set those boundaries in a good way.